Breaking news this fine evening, fellas. Have you guys heard?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
I don't know.
what is your thoughts?
7-year, $7.7 billion. UFC giving all numbered fights and fight nights to Paramount Plus, with some events being on CBS, which means you'll be able to catch some of these fights with an old school antenna in the garage, boys. How are we feeling? The pay-per-view model is dead and gone as far as UFC is concerned. There will be no additional charges to Paramount Plus subscribers to watch these. So it's going to be monthly subscription only.
$8.
Pretty wild. $8.
$8. You can get all that for $8 now.
Wow.
You know what that means, right? Well, first of all, what I'm going to say is viewership is going to skyrocket. Okay. And it's not because of new watchers. That's not what it's going to be of. It's going to be because of all the people, the majority of the people, your diehard fans who didn't want to pay $80 for a pay-per-view every single month and illegally streaming it. That's where all your viewership is going to come back to, because now these people are like, oh, for $8, I can watch all UFC fights. So 4 weeks, I get UFC for $8. That's $2 a week for me to watch fights.
Yep.
And there's going to be no lag in their stream. You losing the stream, finding a new server to do it. No, $8. That's where they're going to get all of their viewerships from. Is that they just
all
solved
the
that
people
problem.
that are streaming it illegally, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I can do $8. I could probably do $15 for not having to hassle with all the pop-up ads and all that stuff. I could do that. And that taps into I would think, a big market and solves this problem for that pay-per-view model. I'm eager to see what's the profit and revenue hitting those people.
Yeah, well, I think generally speaking, sales had been going down year over year recently. So I think the structure, it will be very interesting, whatever limited information we're able to gather, but we'll probably be able to piece certain things together if we start seeing areas of the cage or certain places with new advertising spaces that we haven't seen before. We'll probably get some idea where some of that money's coming from.
Is it going to be turning into the WWE where when they smash someone through a table, you're going to see, logos on the tables that are being smashed through? Is that what it's going to come to?
Does it get any sillier than having a water bottle with a Monster Energy logo on it? I think they've kind of already jumped the shark on that a long time ago. Like, here, let's have this elite athlete hold an empty can of Monster while we interview him, knowing damn well he hasn't touched that in the last 3 months at minimum.
You know why that they're empty now? You know why they're empty? Fun little fact is because after Conor McGregor was throwing them into the crowd.
Yeah.
That is why they're all empty and they're plastic.
Yep. I find it funny for some of the athletes that don't like that brand, and they'll just throw it. They're like, I'm not holding this. I know Izzy's one of them. It's like, nope, get that.
Get that poison away from me. I think it will be a lot of that. There will be, of course, those long-term sponsor packages. What I think will be very interesting to see, because Zach, you already touched on the majority of the viewers coming over. As you said, it won't be a lot of new fan conversions, at least not on day one, where I think they have a unique opportunity, not only a CBS opportunity. It could have been something similar with ESPN, but the fact that they are with CBS and that certain events will be broadcast on CBS, just regular old cable television, when they have big either Saturday night college football or set up a card on a Sunday evening. Probably have it start right after those 4 p.m. games end. You guys are football fans. You know this. There's a little bit of no man's land time every Sunday. Honestly, a lot of times, like the start of the second half, some weeks there's like 4 p.m. games. There's almost nothing to watch. You can barely get through red zone. And if 2 of those games aren't close, you could probably convert a few fans. They'd be ready to, as soon as that game is over, let's watch this UFC event. And then, Sunday night football does start around 8:30, but you can fit damn near 2 hours of MMA fighting. So I think that's where they have a great opportunity to actually go find some new fans. If they leverage the ability to kind of put themselves in front of more people. And I would think, as far as your conversions are, I think football is probably one of the best places to start. If I don't know if March Madness will be a hit when CBS does have other IPs they can utilize this same strategy, but I think it will be peak for them. When's this start? 2026. So this time next year, I would expect to start seeing advertisements for free UFC events on CBS right after a big college football matchup or an NFL Sunday.
And, don't forget, you could have shows on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You've got those, and you might see some of those like your Vegas shows. You know what I mean? You might see those, your UFC or your ESPN Plus ones that we used to watch, like those type of shows. You may see those throughout the week too, to fill in some spots where they've got college football, where they've got March Madness, because they do have some days where they've got some breaks, don't they? It's not like every single day is basketball, if I'm not mistaken. There are some breaks in between rounds, so they're going to need some spots to fill those. That's when you see those on the during the weekdays. Is what I'm thinking.
Yep. Honestly, I think for the CBS type stuff, I think they can move the Dana White Contender Series. It's already on a Tuesday. You move that to Tuesday, and you get those type of shows on the Tuesday. The Ultimate Fighter on a Tuesday, and then obviously you can do some of your fight nights maybe on a Wednesday or a Thursday.
They still conflict with Thursday night football.
Well, then Wednesday. So you do a Tuesday, Wednesday. You have Fridays. They probably want to keep not on because they have their regional shows that they do through like the UFC app on Fridays most of the time.
UFC Fight Pass stuff too.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. UFC Fight Pass. That's the regional scenes. Usually they do them on Fridays.
Well, how do you know they're not going to move some of those up?
They could.
You know what I mean? Like they're still technically under the UFC umbrella, but then so I'm thinking more like LFA. You know what I mean? I'm thinking more of LFA. They might use those to fill some of those Friday shows, and maybe they give them a Friday every once in a while, and you get like an LFA one time a year on CBS. You know what I mean? It gives them like their big, hey guys, you're a big enough promotion, you're making enough money. This is your big show. This is your big chance to kind of will help you out. I don't know if they'll do that. I doubt that, but it's a possibility with UFC Fight Pass just moving their high tier under minor leagues, I guess you would call it, up to a bigger stage. So then it gets more younger people involved in the sport as well, showing like, hey, look, the minor leagues per se, we also show a little bit of love to them as well. So you might get on national television by still under one of our umbrella companies.
I mean, that could be a possibility. I think I highly doubt it just because that drives traffic to their app, right? So it drives people to...
Well, it's an advertisement. One time a year, it's advertising it because people see it, then they want to watch it. Where else can they watch it other than one time on CBS?
That's
Boom.
True.
They can then now go to ESPN or not ESPN. I'm sorry, the UFC in that way.
Yeah, that's true. I guess for me also, moving on, the next big question I have is how do they pay their fighters? Because the big thing with top guys, they used to get pay-per-view points. So now is it just going to be a negotiation of contracts that this is what I get paid? These are my fight bonuses to perform in such a way that way I can get that top end rather than just base pay.
So this is where the world of being a pro fighter and the world of being a content creator / podcaster, rarely does that Venn diagram cross over. And this might be a situation where folks like us three are patting that leather sofa cushion next to us saying, come over here and join us, pal. There's a little concept that some of you watching will be familiar with, which is pretty consistent among, like, whether it's audio podcasts or YouTube, where you get a percentage of ad revenue per how many views. So I think what would make a lot of sense to me is that in lieu of pay-per-view points, there would now be maybe a back end percentage where fighters, and they of course wouldn't be able to know this until after the fight, probably a week or so after, but basically where you start to get paid per impression. And that is where the accounting could get very interesting, because you're going to generate a lot of social media impressions as well. But that is what your value is to the company these days, because that's what the advertisers are paying for. They're hoping that the Papa John's pizza part of the canvas is what's in shot when they get that nice spinning heel kick knockout, and that when 24 million times that gets viewed, that it says damn better ingredients, better pizza on the lower left third. And they're like, hell yeah, dude, we just got Pavlov dogged into how many households? Thank you. Thank you, John Jones, or whoever, thank you, Tom Aspinall, for feeding all of our families for the next 3 months. So I think that's probably where it goes, which is maybe unfortunate for the fighters, because that's going to be a really hard thing to estimate on the front end. So I think a lot of times they're probably not going to get the better end of that deal. So very interesting. That's the kind of stuff that I don't know how much of it makes it out into the public, but that's what I'd be almost the most interested in learning about, is like, what do these new contracts look like now? How do you figure these bonuses out?
Maybe they just pay them more and they don't get any of those little TV bonuses anymore. I don't know. Like, I truly don't know what they're going to do. It'll be interesting to see in the next coming weeks of kind of what Dana White puts out there and tells us. But I mean, all I can say as a fan, I'm happy about this move, though. I mean, Wade, I'm sure you are too.
Oh, absolutely. You watch every single one of these pay-per-views and you're paying dang near $90 a pop. And it's a lot over the years, and it's like I'd rather just auto pay $8 a month, see all this, and you're gonna guarantee my view every single time.
Yeah.
And then you can watch all of Star Trek when it's time to retire. You just got it all sitting right there. I agree with you, fellas. I will say this: mark my words. By February 2026, it will not be $8 by the time it comes on. And I say that knowing even our beloved Peacock, the last bastion of affordable streaming options, they are going from $8 to $10 next month. Netflix, I think, is up to like $24 in the States. They're all going up, and some of them will probably go up again between now and the time this happens, because this is going to change a lot of business models, and therefore especially with ESPN coming in, and if they can prove that people will pay them $30 a month for like 3 sports channels and NFL Red Zone, all these other companies look around saying, I have enough hours of entertainment that you could start watching it now and die and you'll never get through all of it. And these guys are charging 3 times. They're charging $30 a month for nothing. Like, yeah, everybody's prices are about to go up. So I would say that be prepared to spend $15 a month for it. But I still think everyone's point stands. Like, that's still a steal in comparison, not to mention all the other content. Like, I've never had Paramount Plus because up until this, there just wasn't enough there to justify me even giving it $8. I don't watch Star Trek. I don't watch that much South Park. So what do you got for me at that rate? At least Peacock gave me Notre Dame games and WWE PLEs. But the one thing that I can't stop thinking about is, you guys talked about fighter pay. I want to go back to this for a minute. How pissed are these fighters going to be when they go back to having a bunch of sponsors on their shorts, and it's not the sponsors that they picked, and it's company supplied sponsors that they maybe get a small percentage of? Because that's another way to add some of this money back into the fighters, is to just put more every other major American sport at this point. It's not quite Europe where the main jersey is the marketing and you get a little emblem up here, but it'll be that soon enough. So the UFC, it only stands to reason at some point there will be more sponsors on their shorts, maybe even on their gloves. And man, that's going to piss a few fighters off, I'm sure, to see that go full circle.
I agree with you. It will, because that's how a lot of those fighters in the earlier UFC days made a lot of their money. That's where they made majority of their money, because the UFC wasn't paying them a whole lot of money. So like those younger guys who are getting in, yeah, their contracts weren't that big from fight to fight, but they made that up in sponsorship deals where they could go out there and have shorts and have whatever it is, a coat, maybe a little bit
that
like
big old banner the coach would hang behind him.
Exactly.
It looked like a goddamn auto body shop they were standing in front of.
Exactly. And you can't do that anymore. So, and they lost that, but then they're supposed to pay him more. They paid him a little bit more, but only on these big fights. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I think the intro for it, which, I mean, for an intro fighter, sure, 10 and 10. So $10,000 to fight, $10,000 to win is, from what I remember the last time I at least checked.
That was UFC base.
That's your base coming in.
What do you max? Like 4 fights a year? Like realistically?
Realistically, yes.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you're winning. If you're going through some hard wars, then 3 to 4. If you're
a knockout artist,
you can get
young and hungry. You can get 5. Maybe be able to push it. Maybe get 6. That's really pushing it. But, 1 every 2 months. I mean, if you're a knockout artist, you can. You don't see too many people do it, though.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Holland had like 5.
Yeah, and how many people are actually doing that? 5 fights.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Kevin Holland did it, but how many other people are doing it? Nah.
So to be middle class, you got to be Kevin Holland's maximum output. Yeah, it's tough, right? Because otherwise, that's what I'm thinking about. You're looking at anywhere from 20 to 40 grand a year. And so, that's got to be difficult. And hopefully with 7.7 billion getting injected into the situation, there's an ability to invest a little more, because that is a full-time job, especially if you want to, when you get to that level. So those guys really should be able to theoretically pay their bills off of doing that. So it'll be interesting. We undoubtedly, the one thing, guys, get used to this. I don't know how prevalent it already is in UFC pay-per-views, because whenever I watched, I rarely sit and watch a UFC event solo. So, commercial breaks and ad reads would be when you're already talking around the punch bowl or the chip dip anyway. But the WWE PLEs are damn near unwatchable now that they're free. It just feels like a long episode of television. Like you'll at least get, you won't get commercial breaks inside the fight, but you'll have to deal with the announcers doing ad reads. And, all of a sudden every replay cam is sponsored. Like we were saying before, that we're making fun of the Slim Jim on the tables that they break. So yeah, be ready for a lot more ad breaks in your pay-per-views, which I have mixed feelings on it, because on one hand, just like we were talking about, that's how the fighters will get paid what they are worth. And on one hand, well worth it, I guess. They deserve that money. On the other hand, it really waters down the experience and then essentially the value for you, the consumer. But now that you're only paying $12 a month for it, there's, where's the need to provide that good value? So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays. But they have a great opportunity to get the product out in front of a lot of new eyes. I feel like this is what helped the UFC the first time, being on Spike TV and stuff, being on Fox.
Yep.
Yeah. What I will say is that, the UFC, when they do their pay-per-views, you do get commercial breaks. You get the ad reads, but I feel like they mix it in there real well where you're not even really paying attention to it. So it's like, oh, this fight replay is sponsored by such and such, and then it just goes right in. And it's not like this long, drawn-out process. It's quick, to the point. You pretty much, as a fan, gloss right over it. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they do a lot now, but you just don't realize it really, because it's just so short and sweet, and you're just getting right back to the action real quick. So I honestly don't think there'll be too much of a difference. I don't think that they'll do the shorts, because Dana White hated it. He's like, it looks so tacky. Then he just freaking painted.
Didn't he used to talk about how much he hated boxing too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when money's involved.
I also specifically remember him saying women would never be in the UFC. I think I remember that.
That's true. That's true. So I guess money does talk, obviously, but
money does talk. Money does talk. Now, do you guys see this trickling down to other things as well?
That's what I'm going to ask.
So, regional, like us, like it's talking about us. Do you think that's going to affect us? Like, do you think we're going to have to go to a subscription-based month-to-month ordeal? Like, do you think that's something that we're going to have to do?
I don't think so. Only because on a regional level, it's a lot of family, friend support. So, hey, it's $30 to watch my fight. Please support me. Come watch it. So people, like, if you were fighting again and you went on this thing, I gotta pay Carnage Media $30 to watch your fight. I'm gonna do it because I want to watch you. I want to support you. It's different when you're watching like pros that you're not personally connected with, in the sense that I didn't go to school with you, or I didn't grow up with you. I think it won't affect as big as what people would think, just because at a regional level, it's for family and friends that are really supporting.
Kevin, do you have the same view on that?
Well, I definitely see Wade's point, and I think it will, at the very least, last a little bit longer because of that, because there is some truth to it. So we've seen it just within the circle of fighters that we've worked with or called some of their fights, and then they get an opportunity to go fight in Texas or go fight in California. And of course, if I am your local butcher and you come in every week and I really want to support you, and maybe I've even sponsored you before, I can't fly out to California, but I will gladly pay that $30, knowing that those online ticket sales help your payday. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same as buying a t-shirt from your regional fighter and all of that. So I do see that avenue keeping it open. And I think it depends on the long-term goal of the regional promotion. But yeah, I think it's inevitable at this point that it will have to go away, because outside of friends and family, who you will absolutely always have that base level of support. If you want to grow to a newer audience, it's going to get harder and harder to convince people, well, you can watch the best in the world for $15 a month, or you can pay me twice that to watch these 10 fights. And so, again, when the goal is to just support your own personal friend or somebody within your community, yeah, 100%. This is a way for us to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to watch it. But I do think there's going to potentially be a bit of a scramble. I think you're going to see a lot of consolidation. Like this is, in a way, sort of like when, you see a big merger and then there's some smaller companies around maybe that have to fight for a different area, and maybe some people aren't going to be able to sell pay-per-views at all after this, and then they're going to have to either switch to a different business model or stop putting on shows. And so you may see more collaboration amongst groups to join forces to put shows on and do something like that. But I will say this, I think there is an opportunity if there are some regional smaller level companies out there that can find a way to replicate or do a version of this streaming and say, hey, we're going to have memberships or through Patreon or something like that. I think that could be the future for that support as well. Because then it's just sort of, if you could go to a fighter and say, hey, for $5 a month, set it and forget it. You can support me in my endeavor. And anytime I'm on this network, it'll be free for you to watch it, that kind of thing. I think adding a subscription model maybe a necessity for everybody, or finding a way to offer it for free. I think, however, that conversely, like pay-per-view should stay open. There are still folks today that would rather pay $60 for a pay-per-view rather than watch it on Peacock, because they want to be able to watch it on their TV, have the ability to control it, rewind, fast forward, all kinds of stuff you can't really do when you stream something. So there are still perks to just doing a pay-per-view. Also, you own it in whatever sense owning anything digitally means to you. But you have access to it. You can save it probably on a hard drive or something like that. You can watch it later. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn, Zach. It seems like you might be the deciding factor on this one. Where do you land?
I think it's going to be kind of like a combination of both, you guys here. So like kind of like what Wade said, I think your regional ones your smaller ones are going to stay pay-per-view. That's just how it's going to be. But then if you start getting a little bit bigger than that, than just a regional, let's just say, for example, for us, Midwest, you start doing it in different states and doing different things like that. I think you're going to need to go to a subscription based at that point, because you're hitting a lot of different places, and to keep everybody engaged with what's going on, I think that's a good way to keep and grow. You not necessarily might be the smartest money choice for a smaller promotion right off the get-go, but I think for the long run, it would be smart, because you're collecting fans. Set it, forget it. They're going to forget. And so you're going to have that constant person who, hey, they might have just stuck in to watch one fight, and next they forget. It happens to me all the time. I forget that I'm subscribed to something. And I finally actually look through my stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, I've been paying for that for how long? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's part of the business plan, let's be honest. And so that will help grow it, though, anyway. And then plus people are going to be like, whoa, I can watch these local regional ones for $10 a month. That's not that bad. I'll do it. Yeah.
Just to add, like, I think your lower regional, I think there's tiers. So you got your regionals like Carnage Fight Series, and like those used to be Iron Tiger and stuff like that were like lower level. You're not
Ego Fight Series,
Nightmare Promotions, like those kind of like regionals are gonna, I feel, pay-per-view right now. Now, as you work up and you build that brand to where it is the final step to get recruited to a UFC, to a PFL type, I think that's where it's going to be beneficial for that regional scene to be on a subscription base, because recruiters and other people are going to want to subscribe to watch these new and upcomers to try to recruit them to that UFC PFL level.
And just finding fights in general.
Yeah.
Your matchmakers are going to be wanting to look at those. And but like I said, that'd be a great way for a subscription-based kind of a thing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just is.
That's why I think that there will inevitably be some mergers or at least some collaborations, because I agree with that as well, especially if you're doing 3 or 4 shows a year. The opposite end of that argument is we don't have enough content to be worthy of a monthly subscription either, and people are already expressing it that how is this any better than cable, as they get their rates jacked up every 8 months or every year. And you start to add all of the different streaming fees. So I think for a lot of these places, the solution is going to end up being sort of a hybrid model. I think that's kind of where we're landing. You don't want to shut the valve off and tell people they can't buy single events. That would turn away a lot of money, a lot of opportunity. But I think there's going to be those groups that get together and say, well, do we get our own, do we share our events all from the same website or app, so that way we can offer a subscription, and then if you pay this 1 monthly fee, you can watch Ego, Carnage, what I mean, where it's like you'll have these 3 or 4 smaller promotions all working together, almost like an NWA thing, to put it in pro wrestling terms, where you have these little regionals with a sort of governing body that then says, okay, well, you're all affiliates, we're all associated. And then that kind of opens the door to say, okay, well, now we can build a much larger user base and have the content that fills it to be worthy of a monthly subscription. But I think that's where those things are going. There will always be people who want things a la carte, who are saying like, no, my nephew is fighting this one time, I want to support him this one time, and that's it, and that's all. So I think it'll still be a lot of that in the early going, but a very interesting time. I'm interested to see what the other side effects will be. Obviously, not a lot of competition right now. PFL's biggest star doesn't show up to events and stuff, so that ain't going super well.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what the trickle down effect is for all sports. You know what I mean? Not just fights. We'll see what this does, how this helps. Maybe this helps. I mean, I still think UFC is a world sport. And so how does this make it grow worldwide? And if it does, that's only going to help companies like ours. Let's be honest. It is. It's just going to help the smaller promotions that are trying to grow, get bigger, because more people are going to be interested in it. And, you've got how many people who are interested in the minor league baseballs. You know what I mean? Because it's there. Well, that's what we are. We're the minor leagues. So I'm excited to see how that's going to affect us as well.
Yeah.
Hell of a time to be alive, boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Well, that being said, boys, another Carnage Media / Carnage Unleashed exclusive right here, right? Breaking news.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, which you can do for free.
Yeah, for free.
Still watch a ton of free fights. So all this talk about money and the best way to consume fights, and I notice that nobody mentioned to you at home yet how you can watch free fights all the damn time. We might not make it right now until the end of your life, but if you start watching all of our individual fight videos right now, I bet we'd get you at least to Halloween, if not Christmas.
Yeah.
What do you think, boys? There's a
yeah.
lot of content.
I agree.
300 some videos here. Just saying. So, go ahead. Check it out. You're already checking us out now. Go ahead and check out Carnage Media here on YouTube, or you can also go to carnagemediappv.com and you can check out all of our upcoming fights and bouts and any articles that we want to drop. They're there. So go and check us out on those places.
Speaking of upcoming bouts, we have Carnage Fight Series, August 23rd.
Third one.
EFS 3.
Yeah.
So
Buckup versus
Carnage-
Sandlin.
Heck yeah. So CarnageMediaPPV.com. Check that out. You'll find the link there to buy tickets if you want to be there in person, or the pay-per-view link if you can't make it there in person. You guys have a lovely evening.
Catch you guys later.